This is a video researched and told from a pure scientific perspective. Picture this. You're standing in a field at night. No city lights, no phone screen. Just you in the sky. At first, it's beautiful. The Milky Way stretches overhead like a wound in the darkness. Ancient light from stars that might already be dead. But stay there long enough, and something shifts. The beauty becomes heavier. The silence becomes louder. And somewhere in your chest, a question forms that you can't quite answer. What am I looking at? Not scientifically, not poetically, but existentially. Because space doesn't comfort us the way mountains do, or oceans, or forests. Those things are vast, yes, but they have edges. They have rhythm. They speak in languages we evolved to understand. Space offers none of that. It offers infinity without context, silence without meaning, vastness without witness. And the human heart, this fragile, meaning-seeking thing, feels something it rarely admits out loud. Terror. Not the jump scare kind, the slow burn kind, the kind that whispers, maybe you don't matter, maybe nothing does. This is the fear of space, and it's not about what's out there. It's about what we discover in here when we look up. We need to talk about what happens in your mind when you try to imagine infinity. Go ahead, try it now. Picture a space that goes on forever. No walls, no end. Just more, and more, and more. How long did you last before your brain slipped? There's a reason for that. The human brain evolved over millions of years to navigate environments we could walk across in a day. Villages, valleys, territories with landmarks and boundaries and edges. We're built for the scale of campfires and cave walls, not galaxies and cosmic voids. Neuroscience shows us that when we try to process scales beyond our lived experience, astronomical distances, geological time, infinite space, our cognitive systems start to malfunction. The mental models we use to understand place and distance simply glitch. It's like trying to run modern software on hardware from 50,000 years ago. The program crashes. And when your sense of scale crashes, something more primal crashes with it, your sense of containment. Children need boundaries to feel safe. Adults do too. We need to know where the walls are, even if they're invisible ones. Cultural walls, moral walls, the wall between life and death. Space has no walls. It is the first place the human mind encounters that cannot be contained, cannot be mapped, cannot be made smaller through any act of understanding. And our minds, they hate that. We experience what researchers call cognitive overload, the brain's desperate attempt to fit something infinite into a finite processing system. Some people feel awe, others feel vertigo. Many feel both at once. But underneath it all is the same whisper. I am too small for this. I was not meant to know this. Here's what really breaks us when we look at the stars. The realization that we are not the center of anything. For most of human history, we believed otherwise. The earth was fixed. The sun and stars revolved around us. The cosmos was a stage, built specifically for the human drama. Then came Copernicus, then Galileo, then Hubble, then Webb. Each discovery pushed us further from the center, further from significance, until we arrived at the truth. Earth is a pale blue dot circling an average star in the suburbs of an ordinary galaxy, one of 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe alone. We are not special. We are not central. We are not even noticed. Psychologists call this ego death, the sudden collapse of the self's perceived importance. But here's the twist. It's not the smallness that terrifies us. It's the indifference. A mountain can crush you, but at least it's a mountain. The ocean can drown you, but at least it's the ocean. Space doesn't even acknowledge you exist. It doesn't crush. It doesn't drown. It just continues. Vast and silent and utterly uninterested in your heartbeat, your memories, your fears, your love. And that indifference, that cosmic silence in the face of human suffering, it feels like annihilation. Not of the body, but of meaning itself. Because if the universe doesn't care, why should anything matter? Why should you matter? This is what philosophers call existential anxiety. And this, right here, is why we invented gods. Ancient humans looked at the same night sky we do. They saw the same darkness, the same silence, the same stars disappearing into infinite black, but they refused to leave it empty. They populated the heavens with persons, gods, spirits, angels, ancestors watching from above. The Greeks saw Zeus hurling lightning. The Egyptians saw Ra sailing across the sky in a solar bark. Christians saw a divine throne surrounded by celestial orders. Hindus saw cycles of cosmic dance. From a psychological perspective, this wasn't superstition, it was survival. Because a cosmos full of agents, even angry, jealous, temperamental agents, is psychologically safer than a cosmos that is simply inert. At least gods can be prayed to, bargained with, understood through story. At least a universe with gods is a universe that cares. Myth was humanity's first answer to cosmic terror. We turned the infinite into narrative, the silence into conversation, the void into home, and it worked. For thousands of years, the sky wasn't terrifying, it was sacred. Quick aside, if you're the kind of person who finds meaning in questions like these, you might want to subscribe. This channel exists for people who think too much about existence and need a place where that's okay. Then something changed. Telescopes revealed that the gods' thrones were actually distant suns. The heavens weren't layers of celestial perfection. They were clouds of hydrogen and helium governed by gravity. Science gave us answers. Beautiful, precise, breathtaking answers about how the universe works. But it didn't tell us why we're here, or if why is even a question the cosmos entertains. The modern human condition is this. We know more about the universe than any generation in history, and we feel more lost than ever, because knowledge without meaning is just data, and data doesn't comfort a grieving heart. It doesn't answer the 3 a.m. question, does my life matter? The images from the James Webb Telescope are stunning. Galaxies 13 billion years old, nebulae where stars are born, the cosmic background radiation, the afterglow of creation itself. But for many people, these images don't inspire wonder. They inspire dread, because every new image whispers the same thing. You're so small, so brief, so cosmically irrelevant. This is the modern existential crisis. We've stripped the universe of story, but we haven't replaced it with anything that holds us. And so we sit in our lit rooms, scrolling, distracting, numbing, because looking up feels like staring into a mirror that reflects nothing back. But here's where it gets interesting. Because not everyone who looks at space feels dread. Some people feel awe, and research suggests that awe and terror are not opposites, they're cousins. Sometimes they're the same emotion, wearing different clothes. Psychologists define awe as an experience with 2 core components: vastness and accommodation. Vastness, something too large for your current understanding. Accommodation, your mind stretching to contain it. Fear is what happens when your mind refuses to stretch, when it contracts, defends, retreats. Awe is what happens when your mind surrenders to the stretch, when it lets itself be reorganized by something greater. Here's the beautiful part. Awe shrinks the ego without destroying it. Studies show that people who experience awe become less self-focused, more generous, more patient, more connected to others. They report lower anxiety and higher life satisfaction, not because awe makes them feel big, but because it reminds them they were never meant to be the center in the first place. The same vastness that threatens the ego liberates the soul. Think about how this fear changes as we age. As children, space is magic. It's astronauts and aliens and galaxies that look like birthday cake. As teenagers, space becomes philosophical. We ask the big questions for the first time. Are we alone? What happens when we die? Does anything matter? In our 20s and 30s, space becomes background. We're too busy building lives, careers, families. The stars are pretty, but distant. Then something happens in middle age. Maybe it's a loss, maybe it's just the weight of years. But suddenly, the sky feels heavier again. We start doing the math. How many more times will I see a sunset? How many years left? And space, which once felt abstract, now feels personal. Because we realize we're hurtling through it on a rock, and time is the one currency we can't negotiate with. By the time we're older, if we're lucky, we make peace with it. The fear softens into something like acceptance, maybe even gratitude. We learn that being small doesn't mean being meaningless, that being brief doesn't mean being insignificant. We learn that the universe doesn't owe us anything, and that might be the most freeing truth of all. So let's bring it full circle. The fear of space is not irrational. It's not childish. It's not something to get over. It's a mirror reflecting a fundamental truth. We are finite beings trying to comprehend infinity, and that's always going to hurt a little. But here's what I've come to believe. The universe's indifference is not cruelty, it's permission. Permission to stop waiting for cosmic validation. Permission to stop asking if we matter in some objective, universe-endorsed way. Because here's the secret, meaning was never out there. It was always a thing we make, together, in the brief flicker of warmth between birth and death. The stars don't care, and that's okay. You care, I care, the people you love care. And that caring, that stubborn, irrational, beautiful human caring, that is the meaning. Space terrifies us because it's a canvas with no picture, an endless question with no answer. But maybe that's exactly what we need. Not a universe that tells us who to be, but a universe that gives us the freedom to choose. So here's my letter to you tonight. You are small, cosmically small, a brief electrical storm of consciousness flickering on a rock in the middle of nowhere. And yet, you are also the universe looking at itself. You are atoms arranged in such a way that they became aware, and that is not nothing. You will die. Everyone you love will die. The sun will die. Eventually, even the stars will blink out. But right now, in this unrepeatable instant, you are here, reading these words, thinking these thoughts, and that makes you a participant in something vast and mysterious and unspeakably precious. The universe didn't ask for your permission to be indifferent, so don't ask for its permission to matter. You already do. Not because of what's out there, but because of what's in here. This fragile, stubborn, meaning-making heart. Welcome to Unsullied Origins, where every human story begins, in the space between the stars and the stories we tell ourselves to survive them.